feel drowsy while driving home after a night shift or a long day at work? If so, it's almost certain that you were sleeping for parts of your drive home. What you were doing, without even knowing it, was you were microsleeping. Now, the definition of a microsleep is when the brain grabs a quick nap without your permission. And here's the thing, it will pull the plug without you being even remotely aware of it, which is why microsleeps are so extraordinarily dangerous. Consider this. If you're traveling at a typical highway speed of 100 kilometers an hour, you will cover 190 feet in 2 seconds. And since we're only a few feet away from opposing traffic, even a 1-second microsleep can be fatal. Now, research by the National Academy of Sciences found that over a third of car rides home after night shifts resulted in near crashes. Half of the shift work drivers in the study who were analyzed while driving after a night shift were ultimately stopped by the researchers' backup passenger seat floor brake because the sleep-deprived driver had slipped into a microsleep and had experienced a temporary but complete loss of control. See, we tend to believe that life or death tasks that demand a great deal of attention, like driving one's car, will overcome our desire to sleep. But research unequivocally shows otherwise. In a particularly illuminating experiment, Dr. Mohammed Hussein tested a young man who had been restricted to just 9 hours of sleep over a 3-day period. Now, in the experiment, this young man is wired up so Dr. Hussein can detect his brainwaves. And during the test, he is tasked to execute several high-speed road maneuvers in an empty parking lot. And in this video, he seems to be enjoying himself and commenting that he's actually feeling pretty good. However, following the test, Dr. Hussein revealed what had actually happened. Unbeknownst to the young driver, he suffered multiple microsleeps. In fact, he experienced 18 microsleeps that ranged from 3 to 13 seconds while driving. And during the entire 2-hour test, he was actually asleep for a mind-blowing 25 minutes. And here's the kicker. He was completely unaware that he had gone into full sleep while driving even one time. So this experiment clearly shows that you can have your eyes wide open, drive a car, and still be fast asleep. Because we operate in what's called automatic behavior. It's very much like sleepwalking. So, what can we do to overcome microsleeping? Well, the obvious answer is to make sure we get enough sleep. But I can tell you from personal experience that that doesn't necessarily overcome the possibility of microsleeps. A number of years ago, when I had a so-called 9-to-5 office job, I now know for an absolute fact I was dropping into microsleeps in spite of having a full night's sleep. Because there was just something about that time of day that often, not always, but often made me drowsy. So how do we know if we're susceptible to microsleeping? If you feel your eyes drooping or rolling or your head nodding or you even feel like you blanked out for just a moment, you can guarantee that you have been sleeping. And you can also be reasonably assured that you were sleeping for a longer period of time than you probably think you did. So what I used to do to combat microsleeps is I would pull over on the side of the road or in a parking lot. I would drop my car seat all the way back and I lied down with my eyes shut for just 5 or 10 minutes. I never actually knew if I slept or not, but I assume I did. And incredibly enough, I always felt perfectly wide awake after that brief respite. The reason this little break works is that as soon as we sleep, our adenosine levels quickly drop, which reduces our desire to sleep. Microsleeping is a very real and dangerous problem. So in doing anything that requires our full attention, like driving, don't take chances, no matter how close you are to your destination. If you feel at all sleepy, please pull off the road for even 5 minutes, because that may just save your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.